Hey everybody, the purpose of this video is to walk you through question 2.13.16 in the Collaborative Statistics textbook. This one has two data sets represented by box plots. As part B, actually, you've already looked at part A in a previous homework. Part B asks, in these two data sets, which data set is it more likely to have the data point of 7 be an outlier, which is this guy out here. So you can see that 7 is the maximum in both the data sets 1 and 2. Which one is it most likely to be an outlier? So in class we talked about a few ways of measuring outliers. One is using probabilities, which we can't do without a data set itself. 2 is using 2 standard deviations, which is only really technically correct if you have roughly bell-shaped data, which again we can't quite tell from this. This looks more bell-shaped than this for sure, but not necessarily bell-shaped enough. I mean, just because we have a box plot that looks like this doesn't mean we've got a high lumpy bunch of skew on this end. So I'm going to go with the IQR because I think that's the best way to attack this one. It's definitely the easiest based on box plots. So if you remember what we did in class, there's some algebra you can do, but I'd rather not do that. You take the IQR, the interquartile range, Q1 to Q3, increase that distance by 50%, and then stack that distance on the quartiles. What that will then do is set up a range, a critical value out to the right and a critical value out to the left. Between those two ranges, between those two critical values, I mean, creating the range, any data point that lies in that range is going to be considered typical. And in data set 1, you can see when you set up that range, all the data points from min to max are in the typical range, so there are no outliers. But if you looked at data set 2, here's your IQR, much more narrow, increased by 50%, and stack. Well, you'll notice that when you do that stacking, let's write it here, stack, in data set 2, that becomes a critical value. So here's the deal. At least 7 is an outlier. Maybe other ones, if there are other data points up here, they could also be outliers. How about down low? No, nothing down low is an outlier. Nothing's that far out, but it was only asking about 7 anyway. So there's a quick, rough and easy way of identifying outliers based on box plots. Hope it helped.